Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where the orchard of wisdom shows are at your fingertips. It ignites your soul, your heart, your spirit, your mind, and your body with illumination from people who have made the journey before you. They're here now to help you on your journey, on your path of self-discovery. We are funded by you, the audience, and the people we interview. If you wish to support us, please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com and press on our Fund Action button. Anything is appreciated. We'd like you to sit back and enjoy the shows. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I am your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guests are Beatrix Enter and Kathleen Woodington. Kathleen's been on with me before, where she shared a wonderful story of her life and how actually being sick changed her life altogether, put her in a wonderful totally new direction of helping heart-centered entrepreneurs and light workers. And it's really set her off on a beautiful path. And please go back and listen to that show because it's a wonderful journey. But today we're turning the clock back a little bit to when she was sick. And being sick, who did she turn to? Well, enter Beatrix, who then helped her on her beautiful divine spiritual journey into her own healing. So we're going to discuss that today and what that healing was, how really it's not just about Western medicine, it's about really going into our cellular, beautiful divine cellular cells and healing from the inside out. She said she's a living proof of a miracle. And we're going to be talking about the feeling of frustrated, confused, disempowered with the medical community, feeling that nobody gets them, nobody understands them, feels like you are a mystery catalog. No one has any answers. Kathleen gets it. She was there. She was doing this. And now she's doing this as a beacon of hope for what is possible. So we're going to be talking about that health issue that was healed on May 28th, 2021, and that her 4 to 5 year journey from hopelessness to hope healed. And having been told that there was no idea of what was causing her problem, I don't know if you've heard this one, love, but I have. It's all in your head, and nobody actually getting down to what really is really wrong. She did her deep inner work, learned to feel and heal her emotions, accepted what she was, and then surrendered, and then entered Beatrix, who helped her in her life. Everything is in divine order. She bridges the gap between the physical and the non-physical and the earth plane and the other dimensional realms. Allowing access of plane of excellence allows Beatrice to resolve, uncover, and root the cause of a physical manifestation, illness, or issue. She says has the emotional aspect as well as the spiritual aspect are separate but blend together. So are you ready for a new approach to an old program? Well, here we go, because there is always an answer, folks, but we don't always know how to access it. So welcome to the show, Beatrix and Kathleen.
So good to be here with all of you today.
We did this wonderful show, Kathleen, which was fabulous, where you talk about what you're doing now. And, I always believe that everything that happens to us is just a redirect to where we're meant to be. And that everything happens to us is a lesson that we actually take on that journey forward in our service of others. And it certainly has been for you. But we don't always get people kind of looking back on the people that have helped them on that healing journey and kind of sharing the platform with them, or even kind of recognizing they're the people that are doing it. So kudos to you to placing the spotlight on Beatrix here as the person that really kind of helped you get through this whole navigation. The hopelessness in any illness is, what is wrong with me? What can I do about it? Why do I feel this way? And everybody just telling you something different. And I mean, I had an ectopic pregnancy, and for 3 months they were telling me it was all in my head, right? So, in the medical thing, they're great at certain times, and other times they miss. And we don't realize that our body isn't just about physical. and a doctor can't patch everything up, is that very often our dis-ease in our body that brings about disease is because we're out of balance, we're out of sync, mind, body, heart, and soul. And coming into that equilibrium is absolutely important. So, Kathleen, tell us first about where you were at physically, and then the entry of Beatrix.
Okay. And just before we do that, I would just like to take a moment just to make it really clear with the audience that I'm going to be talking about my experience. So this is personal to me, and that I am in no way giving any medical advice to anyone. And that the way that I chose to actually navigate this is what really aligned with my values and my inner being. And it might not be what is the recommendation within the medical community. What I'm asking people to do is to, first and foremost, to think for themselves, own their power, and know that they are their own inner authority. And take whatever you hear today. This is coming from me. I'm not going to speak for other people, but take whatever you that resonates with you today from what I am saying, and then just leave the rest, because I really believe, again, that you are your own inner authority. You are your own guru, first and foremost.
Exactly. You will know what hits truth to you and what resonates with you. And this is really what it is. It's an inspiration that invites an invitation into your own self-discovery, right? So that's really what it's about. But tell us about your sickness. How did you feel? Why was there no diagnosis for it?
Yes. So just to explain what exactly was my big problem, when the doctor said, this is, we don't really have any solution for you other than take medication. And when I asked—
But medication for what? If they didn't have a solution for you, what were you taking medication for?
That's what I was going to say. And they also said, that this is the worst that they had actually seen. So 5 years ago, I'm going to explain to you what I went through and what I was diagnosed with, meaning they really had no answers. So 5 years ago, and actually a little bit before then, I started losing control of my bowels. And it was eventually, it ended up so that I actually had no bowel movements. And that was 5 years ago. So that was healed by Beatrix this past May the 28th, 2021. But 5 years prior to that, my body had just eventually had shut down, so that I was having no daily bowel movement. And at the time, I was really, really, really overwhelmed, really stressed, not knowing, what do I do? Am I dying? Who's going to take care of my dog? What is this? And I went to my family doctor, and to be honest, it was really, really challenging for me to even explain to him, by the way, this is what I'm dealing with. And he was really shocked. He's like, Kathleen, this is what I do every day. I'm a family doctor, and we're going to send you in for colonoscopy. And just to kind of give the kind of the framework for that is that there was a lot of shame around this, and then realizing that it's not just me that actually has that shame. So when I was able to kind of really step back and look at it, I think we as a culture, have a lot of shame about our bodies, about our function, and especially about bowel movement. And it's not like, people are going to be really comfortable talking about, that topic and talking about shit, which is,
we're all full of shit, folks. Let's get it out there right now. And the whole thing is the women to disperse it.
Yeah. So when that didn't happen again, there was so much anxiety and frustration, and, did the medical procedures, there's nothing wrong. And, did other testing, there's nothing wrong. But yet there was, meaning that they could actually not like pinpoint on a physical level that there was actually a physical problem. So physically, everything was working, and that left a big, well, what exactly is going on here? And it was over the, the 5 years of, well, how do I actually navigate this? I wasn't comfortable taking medication. So I chose to actually do daily enemas, which for anyone who hasn't done that, we're talking a big, it was a big deal. It was a big production. It was kind of like radical self-care. And it was really me taking ownership of my body and realizing that my life is in my hands right now, because if I'm not doing this, I'm not going to live. And that is what I actually had to go through. And it was in that time that a lot of the emotions that I had been stuffing down, which was actually part of the problem, started to explode. And it was very intense. It brought up a lot of trauma from my past. There was a lot of yelling and screaming on my part in the bathroom, and a lot of, just anger at myself, at God, at my body. I rejected my body. So everything kind of imploded, which is exactly, when I say divine order, which is exactly what was needed to actually bring up the intensity of all the things that I was stuffing down, like the shame, the hurt, and the anger. And after, working through that and eventually coming to a realization that, you're actually traumatizing yourself every day by going through this and not accepting it. And it was when I turned the corner of, you just have to accept this, that actually things started to shift for me. And I actually started to, to feel more comfortable, even though I felt really awkward as a human being. Like I actually really didn't feel like a human being, because I wasn't functioning like a human being.
Exactly.
Identity loss there also. And really stayed the course, and kept praying every night that when I go to bed, I was just like, dear God, please heal me so that I can heal others. Once I got to that acceptance place, and realizing that this might be it for the rest of your life, Kathleen, but stuck with those prayers. And then eventually in March of 2021, answer to my prayers, I ended up meeting Beatrix, and then started doing healing sessions with her from April up until May. And then lo and behold, miracle, on my birthday, May 28th, 2021, I actually ate breakfast and then, ran to the toilet, and bam. It was just like everything just started to click in. I had a healthy bowel movement for the first time. And I've been like the bathroom rock star ever since.
Right. A great birthday present, a rebirth, right? Yeah, a total rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah.
Yeah. So Beatrix, what magic wand, as some people would ask, did you do? I mean, she had to be ready for you. You can't help anyone that's not ready, right? That's not ready to surrender, not ready to do the work. She was ready for you. But what did you do that kind of set it all free?
So Sarah, you have it absolutely right. Everybody has to be ready. And Kathleen was so ready that she aligned all the parts together. She was open, I was open. So together with the universe, actually both Trinity guides, the Trinity and extraterrestrial guides, we were able to pull in the information for her body. However, Kathleen had, as she was saying, to let go of the emotions, because honestly, it's emotions that are blocking us. Think of the word dis-ease. So you have emotional dis-ease, you have disease.
Yes.
So as Kathleen was ready, the clarity, the information that came through, it's like you're allowed to go inside their bodies, and you can see, and also you are able to pull things from the universe, from the Trinity. And one time the Trinity may come through, and the other time the extraterrestrials may come through, because they're all a beautiful team working together to bring healing. And when we are ready, the expression, when the student is ready, the teacher is there. So it's a collective group of teachers. It's not just Kathleen and myself. It's a whole world beyond. But put us together, and the miracles that happen. And that's why when we talk about emotional miracles, on topic with this, emotional miracles can be messy.
Yes. Literally. I have fibromyalgia and IBS, right? So I know all my anxiety goes to my stomach. And I know exactly how you feel. Oh, good, I pooped today. It just feels like an achievement, and it feels like a relief because you're not getting backed up, but you also don't want it to go the other way where you have the IBS attack. Um, and it always happens when you're out. And can you get home in time? I've had many of those type of things. And when you're talking about the channeling of the entities and of the extraterrestrial, I know some people are going to listen to that word and go, the little green man comes to you, or the gray alien, and it's like that's their perception of it, but they don't realize we're working with the universe all the time. And when you open up those channels of beautiful divine energy and you've given them permission to come in and help you, it becomes a harmony, it becomes a symphony, doesn't it? Because they know how to rebalance you, because we're constantly fighting that equilibrium and that balance game.
Not only that, they also bring in different materials. Materials I don't even always understand. There seems to be a lot of silver, different metals in that world, and they bring and they transfuse it through is what it feels like. It's like they are injecting our bodies, and they can stay, they can hold a spot, they can continue working on someone even after they leave the session. And they can also put braces on bodies so that people's bodies can realign, because quite often our bodies are out of line, and we don't know how to correct them ourselves. And so when the person is ready and they're open and it's submitting, it's as we know, on an unconscious level, and you can feel it in some people. Like Kathleen is beautiful that way. She is willing to surrender. She submits, she lets go, and she accepts. And when she doesn't understand, she asks questions, and then more stuff comes through. And for her, it wasn't even like, I believe it was 3.5 sessions specifically for the bowel area that Kathleen was able to totally transform that part of her life. And she was ready. She put it out there. Serendipity. She channeled the information together, and she was willing to allow all the pieces to come in.
Open and ready to receive. But you had to go through your hell. You had to go through your battle. You had to go through your fire. You had to have the rejection from everything else before you go, okay, what other avenue do I have? I surrender. I surrender. There has to be another answer on that. But you had to step into enough self-love in order for this to open up and be able to come and help you, because it can't help you if you're in the angst or the self-hate or the tense thing, right? It needs you to be open and ready to receive. So you had already done a great deal of the work, Kathleen. And so this was kind of the beautiful nugget that you were getting to correct everything, because you were open, ready, and willing to receive without judgment and without dictation.
Yeah, and exactly what you were saying about self-love. So prior to that, I spent 6 years healing, multiple chronic illnesses, and really thought, okay, now I can really step into my coaching business. And it's just like, wow, no, look what you have to deal with now, Kathleen.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I thought, well, I've really, gone so deep into self-love. And when this came up, it was just like taking, self-love to, an Olympic level. And are you going to love yourself when you have to, do this every day, and when it gets really, really messy? And that was a real test for taking self-love to the next level.
Yeah. Everybody, as you said, the teacher comes when the student is ready, and everybody thinks that it's, one big moment, and it isn't. There's various steps that we all have to take. And you obviously had other inspirations along that journey to get to that point, to be open enough to receive Beatrice. Beatrix, it's it's really important that I think, take the word dictation and judgment out of your vocabulary. Don't dictate how it should happen. You're not going to always understand how it is happening. You just have to step into trust. And if you're in that loving, self-loving vibration of I'm open, willing to receive, you're already on that higher vibration of love where no harm can be done to you because you're in that loving vibration. But you've got to get there, don't you, in order to be able up to those higher levels.
Absolutely.
Beatrix?
Absolutely. But not only that, it's the inconsistencies, the contradictions, all those points of reference that you're making that help us to dig deeper, to get to that root, because we have been programmed that the medical system has many answers for us, and it does. But how about for all the people who do not fit in the traditional medical system?
Yes, exactly. And how many are there of that? Many of us. Really, when you think about it, most disease, right, is manifested through a dysfunction in our emotion, right? So
Yes.
how many of us are, I mean, broken bones, heart transplants, antibiotics, medical is wonderful for that. But when it comes into the core of your health, your well-beingness, they're just not there.
Well, the medical system is wonderful, but it hasn't, up to this point that we've seen, taught how to integrate the soul into the whole envelope.
No.
And we are a complete human being. And for the people that recognize this and go there, they have manifested miracles. And some of them are financial, some of them are medical, but the miracles are there. And as you said, the difference to me between faith and hope, now you call it trust, but when you have faith, you believe it's going to happen because you are ready. You have done your steps in the journey to bring you to the table, and the rest, the universe brings for you, and it puts all the pieces of the puzzle into place. And yes, we are human and we like to understand the pieces of the puzzle, but even in doing the readings, the information that comes through, you pass it on, and quite often the person on the table understands it, but for yourself, you may not understand it at all. And when we go to different realms in different frequencies, they feel different. Some of them feel like particles. Some of them make noise, and it's like a buzzing. Some of them you see flashes of light. So it is as interspersed as the miracle itself. So just to be open to receive as what comes through is as magical as open as we are to receive it.
Yeah. And you can't dictate how. You've just got to surrender to how it comes. And you talk about the human being, right? The being is the beingness of the universe, and we are a being from the universe, and it's melding with our humanness, our human body, our human mind. And when we actually come together as one, we realize actually how powerful we are, and that wonderful connection, that wonderful channel that is always open. And so we're never alone, right? And the answers are always there, but sometimes those answers don't come to us in the way we want, or in the form of healing, because the journey for you to get to that point to be healed is the reason why you had to have the journey. It's the experiences that you had to have along the way, that you now have become the coach and the advocate and the teacher for other people of how to navigate through those. Had it just been a quick, oh, you've got this problem, let's heal it, what would have been the lesson in the journey? How would it have led to what you're doing now? So we want to prevent everybody from having suffering, but sometimes that suffering is part of our life's journey into becoming that beautiful human being, and being open then to all the beautiful resources from the universe that can help us be the best that we can be. Did you find that, Kathleen?
Absolutely. And it's funny. I like humor. I actually had to really, yeah. Once I actually accept it and surrendered, it was just like, you have to find something to laugh at to make it
Yes. Oh God, yes.
tolerable. And I realized looking back, I'm like, there you go. It's like I have a new title. Because in all the business training and coaching training, like know your niche,
Mhm.
specific target population. And I was like, yeah, well, I think mine's pretty unique. I could be like the spiritual bathroom coach, right?
Become shitless or shitful or whatever. And that's important that you bring humor into it, because I think as human beings, we've forgotten how to laugh, even at ourselves. We need to have a good laugh at ourselves and our circumstances, because if we don't, it's a tension release, isn't it? It's like letting off the steam. And if we don't laugh at these things, as you said, you mentioned in the beginning, the shame of it, the shame of it. And, I know, having had IBS attacks in public, I was with a girlfriend who was talking to some friends, and then her friends walked off at the end. She said, "Come on, Sarah." And I said, "I've just shut my pants." And she said, and she laughed. And she said, "You did it so gracefully." Right? And it's like, what else are you meant to do in a situation like that? You're standing there, all these people are talking to you, and the bowels have decided to let loose. So, and you feel kind of ashamed and embarrassed and everything else. And I must be doing something wrong for this to happen. And I think that's one of the huge ingredients we need to take out of it. It's an indication of something that we have to be in discovery of to rectify mind, body, heart, and soul. Anybody want to answer that one?
Well, you're totally on the right frame of mind. And what we recognize is as we are healing our heart, mind, body, and soul, more of our dreams come together. We accomplish more, life becomes simpler. We meet people we wouldn't have met before. We just bring them into our lives, and vice versa. They are looking for us, we are looking for them, and together we meld into a beautiful, almost like a constellation.
Yes, yeah. Wonderful symphony that resonates out with everyone. Talking about bowels, is certainly not something that you were going to see mainstream. And you might see it a doctor talk about it very clinically, if they actually do get out there. I had a wonderful woman on here, Suma Nathan, who was with me for 5 years as a host. They used to call her snake oil woman, because back in the 60s, talking about alternative medicine in any form, she had to be far out there. But, she would always say that the colon, the liver, and the kidney are the most important organs in your body, because if they're dysfunctioning, everything else in the body is going to dysfunction. And we don't talk about our stomach issues. But if we look at what's going on today, how many people have stomach issues? It's, as I said, it's where my anxiety goes. It's where people's fear goes. It's where people's depression goes. It's obviously a lot to do with diet and lifestyle as well. But it's still like, no, we can't talk about that. And we need to talk about that, because quite honestly, in some way or other, we're all full of shit. And we're not letting it go. And in having that beautiful daily bowel movement, which is hallelujah to someone when you realize you haven't had it, it is meaning that your system is functioning properly and you're not carrying all that extra baggage, right, Kathleen?
Exactly. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to, and I'm so grateful that the three of us are here talking together today, is that even though, what I was dealing with was related to bowel function, the fact of the matter is that there's so many people, whether it's, something to do with their liver or their kidneys, their eyes or their heart or their bones or their joints, that actually are not getting any answers from the medical community. And the medical community is really good at what it does when it's something very, very physical.
Yeah.
But to go beyond that. And, one of the reasons why I really was inspired to be able to gather together today is to give hope to people. It doesn't have to be a bowel condition. It can be another condition. And then we are together. The three of us are here just saying, we're an invitation to open your mind to go beyond the box, the medical
Yes.
box.
What
and
box?
go into those
There is
other
no box.
of options
Yeah.
and thoughts, and how that is actually really impacting on whatever it is that you actually have that no one has any answers to.
Right. I mean, Beatrice, you must see in your practice that how many people with past baggage that they're still hauling around, you know, that is their blockage. And it's like people don't know how to let go because half the time they don't know what they're carrying.
You are totally right, but it's that and it's so much more. So when we have baggage, we think sometimes we are looking at it, but we're only looking at a portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we are like an onion. We have so many layers. And so you'll get people that one person, they can heal and they can heal beautifully. One person may not be open to it at all. But what one does notice is when they are ready, they can feel it. And when they can feel the energy coming through, they know, and you will know, and it will resonate with you. So if it feels like nothing is happening for you, it's either that you may not be a good fit or you're not ready. Just because we are able to do readings doesn't mean we always meet up with the very right person to do the reading for us.
Yes.
The more open we are, the more likely we are to pick the reader that is the right fit. And when you find them, you know, you can feel the energy, you can feel it. And that's the important part. You will know beyond, and when you know, you know. And once that happens, people can't talk you out of it because your body knows.
Yes.
And when your body knows, your body knows.
Yes, it's screaming. You know, get out of your head. I'm not interested in what's in there. We found the right person. And it's somebody that really can go really cellular deep, isn't it? You know, I've had people remove past lifetimes and I thought they were all gone, you know, the earthly ones were, but the ancestral or, you know, other entity lifetimes hadn't. And it was very interesting when I went to a woman who was a kind of therapist, and then she did this massage, and then she would just go into the cellular levels and go, okay, this last 50 lifetimes you've been persecuted, torn, burnt at the stake, this and everything for your spirituality. And also you signed a vow of poverty. And, you know, it's like it then became understanding of why, you know, money was such a question for me of being able to make it, and why in a lot of sense it wasn't important, though it should be in order to keep my roof over my head. And the feeling of persecution that I carried around with me. And I thought, well, the past lives have been cleared. Why am I still feeling this? Well, it was still so much in the cellular tissue in the memory form that, you know, it had to be released. And the one person did a great job on that, but then it needed somebody else who could see it on another level, right? So again, nothing in life is one size fits all. You're going to have different people at different levels of the stage of your own recovery. Kathleen, you're nodding your head there.
No, and I think that you've really nailed it, and you put it in a way that it really makes sense. That, you know, people will come into our life and then it's just like, okay, I've learned, I've healed what I need to heal, and now ready for the next person, the next healer. It's perfect the way that you said that.
I mean, I believe every single one of us is an instrument, you know, our self-discovery is what is that instrument? How do I use it? And then which orchestra do I come to? And when you're given a gift, like you are, Beatrix, as you said, if it's not aligned with you, it just means they're either not ready for you or it's not the right frequency, right? And that doesn't mean that you're wrong or they're wrong. It has to have a synergy of energy. And you could have somebody come back to you later who's gone a different route and now ready for you. And it's okay, because people, well, I went to somebody and I just didn't feel it and they just didn't work for me. I'm not going to do that again. And it's like, really? You know, because just because you didn't have a connection with one person doesn't mean they were wrong for you or you were wrong for them. It just means that it wasn't a right synergy there. Keep seeking, because there's somebody out there that is going to be the right connection for you at the right time in your right space. Beatrix?
Well, going on that, not just the person, but within ourselves. I'm not sure that everybody understands, but our body organs can also talk to each other. And so often we have conflict within our bodies, and one body part can be unhappy with another part, because when part of the body is not working well, it affects other organs, and the organs will get into conflict with each other. So if you can get in tune with your organs, or work with somebody who can get in tune with your organs, they can often too make so your organs are more comfortable, and the emotions your organs are going through get solved as well. And we don't stop to think of our organs having emotions, but our organs do, and they're not necessarily the same emotions that are going on in our head.
Yeah, you can release one thing, can't you, Kathleen? And you think, okay, I've released, you know, and then all of a sudden something else comes up. But I thought I got rid of that. And no, you got rid of it on one organ or one aspect. But then the other one says, well, you never be able to hear me before because the other one was too loud. Now the other one's gone, my voice can come up. So pay me the same attention. We're not just like the miracle, there you are cured, walk out into life without anything ever happening to you again. Is that we are one layer or two layers of the onion have gone, right? And now there's other layers of the onion to peel back and heal as we go. And it's like, you know, in the orchestra, one instrument being drowned out, and then suddenly it can have its solo. And we need to listen. We need to listen when our body speaks to that, right, Kathleen?
Yeah, and that's yeah, like I really like when you said listening. And that is one skill, along with the self-love, that I really had to take to a very, very deep level, is the skill of really, really listening to my body. And the reason why, you know, 11 years ago, I had my big health crisis was because I did everything but listen to my body. And I would, you know, just take on more activities and get busier and busier. And even though my body was screaming, you know, fatigue, you know, pay attention, I would just add something else on and basically shut it down and not listen. So it has been a skill, and I really believe it is a skill that all of us are here to master, is to really listen to our body and to make it feel safe, to address its needs. If it's hungry, thirsty, tired, you know, needs some time where, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, distractions or stimuli, and to really honor our body, because I really see our body as this body temple. And in our culture, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, reverence for the body. That's what I have learned. And when I say that, you know, I had to learn how to go counterculture, was to let go of the programs that I had been, you know, programmed to believe, and then to realize that I can actually, you know, create my own programs, and that my body is my body temple, and that I will honor it no matter what.
We will go and take our car for a service and make sure the tires are okay, and, you know, use the right gasoline and look after our cars. But we spend more time on that than the vehicle that our heart and soul is in. And, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, it doesn't matter if I got aches and pains, I'm just getting old. No, you know, you don't have to have aches and pains all the time. There's an indication that there's something wrong, that you need to pay attention to something. How do we listen to our body, Beatrix, in a way that we truly can hear what it's trying to tell us?
Well, if people stop and think, most people understand what phantom pains are. When people lose a body limb, they often can still feel or want to use that limb. And if we understand that, and science talks about it, we understand that there's an energy with each part of our body, whether it is fully present or not. So if we are to open with that basis, that will help us understand that we are fully connected. And there is as much going on internally as there is externally, and in many times even more. Many people know Mother Teresa. She would talk about the people that worked with her. She would have them meditate. And it's that place of stillness. More can happen in that place of
Yes.
stillness than anywhere else. However, to not have over expectations, because if you're going into stillness and you have an expected result, that's going to be just different than going into stillness without an expected result. So I actually choose to have times that I go into stillness just with stillness. And there are times when I really will go in with an expected result, because both of them have applications that work differently, and both of them are very beneficial. So see what feels right for you. But when you go in to a quiet space with no expectation, and some people will just use the word nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
they are often surprised at either the colors,
Mm-hmm.
the sounds, the thoughts that come through. And if none of those things, often they will have an absolutely amazing sleep, and those have a sleep that is more restful than one that they hadn't experienced in a long time.
Yeah. We're a society that chases very much out, the importance of the exterior. And we don't look at the interior, or the, I exercise, I eat right. Yeah, but what are you doing for your heart and soul? What are you doing for your spirit? Where is your connection? I meditate, that great, I don't know if you've seen it, somebody sitting there, hurry up meditation, I haven't got all day. And it's, you go and do all these things, but are you being these things? Are you being at one with your body? Are you being at one with your silence? Are you allowing? Again, we go in with so much of the dictation of what we want after something that very often it's not what we need. So if you go in with allowance, with that blank slate, what do I need in this moment? What do I need to learn? What do I need to know? Or do I just need to step into nothingness and come back with clarity? Right? But we don't allow it, because this outside conditioning of us is always telling us, we've got to be. So how do we switch off the we gotta be and go into that space of allowing, Kathleen?
My answer is it's a process, and
Yes.
comes with a very, very clear intention that this is what you desire. And just to follow what Beatrix was saying about, being able to go into that nothingness, that the two pillars of what has really been my foundation for healing on my healing journey for the past 11 years has been silence and stillness, more than anything else. And creating those conditions to be able to be silent and be still, to really activate what I call the rest and digest phase of the nervous system, which is the healing phase, that's where all healing takes place, is vital, and more so now than ever. And what I refer to this is, have you done your mental floss today? So just like we have the dental floss, I see meditation as the mental floss, and just being able to release the energy and all the thought forms and everything that is happening on, especially on the mental realm, being able to allow that to settle down and to be in a place of total openness, surrender, acceptance. And yeah, just like our Beatrix was saying, that there's times when it's just like I have no expectation, or I do have an expectation, that I also do both of those. And to get back to the question that you were saying, so how do we, focus more on the inner world and, take back, it's really about taking back our power, is that it is a process. It comes with a clear intention. And I think it's really important to, have strategies and set up strategies during your day where you can actually let go of the outer world and then come back to the inner world. And a simple example is, on my cell phone, and I did turn the timer off at 4, is I have, a meditation bell, or a mindfulness bell during my day. And it's just when I hear that, I just stop what I'm doing, close my eyes. That helps me to get into, more of a relaxation state. So it's going from the beta wave, which is what I call the busy mind, into alpha, where the brain waves are slowing down. Close my eyes. I just check in with my body, asking myself, how do I feel? And listening. That's where I practice my listening skills. And then just clearing my energy. So I just visualize that there's a waterfall of light going through my entire body and the space around me. I let go, setting that intention, to check in, to release. And then, I usually bring my hands into prayer pose. And then I say an affirmation. And then I say to myself also that I remember who I am at the highest vibration. So always coming back to what I call a soul orientation, realizing that we're multidimensional beings.
Yes.
And that there is more that is happening than just what we see on the physical plane.
Absolutely.
So that answers your question.
No, it's a very good answer. It's take a breath, isn't it? It doesn't matter what shows I do very often, even in business shows, it comes up, just take 5 minutes in the day. You're busy, go and take 5 minutes. And just that breathing, concentrate on the breathing, listen to the breathing, go to the part where you can hear your heartbeat, nice and slow, get into that rhythm. Just doing that for 5 minutes, that decompressing, right? You come back with more oxygen in your very beingness, and you can go about and do it. A lot of people think that the meditation has to be cross-legged and I know it would need a crane to get me up from that pose. So it's just, where is it that you are comfortable, that you can just go into yourself and switch off the exterior, and whichever form takes you into that silence, that nothingness, that space. I love driving in silence, and I love nature around me speaking to me, and different thoughts will come in, and sometimes there's no thoughts, and sometimes there's just something going on and I'm not paying attention to it. And my mind is busy on the road so that my spirit can go and find its relaxation. What about you, Beatrix?
I agree with Kathleen. She's really used the terminology to help people go to the different levels. And if we want to simplify it too, sometimes our minds are busy. So busy that we might not be able to quiet them. So at that point, we might choose to think about what feels like a nice, peaceful vibration and just see if we can hold that, because we are not able to bring our mind down to nothingness. But if we can bring it into a vibration that we feel comfortable with, and I don't know if any people do this, but I often put a timer on 10 minutes, because in 10 minutes, we can totally change our mental surroundings. And many people even will do this if, sometimes we have words of discussions with our children, our loved ones. And if you put the timer on 10 minutes and say, I'm giving myself 10 minutes, and walk away from a discussion or an argument, in 10 minutes, it is so diffused.
Yes.
And so the same philosophy, if you can take 10 minutes and put yourself in a vibration that is in line with you, it can sustain you for such a large part of the day that it will do more for you than an hour's sleep.
Yeah.
So it's being in the resin of the vibration is the way I like to talk about it.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to do a little dimensional talk. I very often go up into the universe, which, for me is like everythingness and nothingness. It's this, everything you need to know is there, but you only need to know what you need to know. And sometimes it's just nothing. And it's almost like, I'm not a body, but I'm a sight looking. It's very hard to describe being up there, but it is so utterly peaceful. And I'm a dimensional traveler where very often I go, oh yes, no, I didn't do that in this lifetime. I've done that on a parallel dimension. I've had this experience here, and I was a very sickly child, so of course I did a great deal of dimensional traveling at that time without realizing I was doing it. And you talk about dimensions, and people kind of think of evil aliens there, or vortexes of this and that, because the movies have made it also. But we are multi-dimensional creatures, and whatever dimension we're on is a heightened sense of awareness that allows us to transcend the limitations of mind and body here, and just travel into different universes. Do you find people push back from that kind of? Are they a little afraid of that dimensional travel, Beatrix?
Sarah, it's very much, it's so individual, as you know. Had a client and they felt like they were levitating off the table, and then they chose to shut it down.
Right.
So, but also recognizing that it brought forth a past life experience, and the fear that can bring. So it's very important that we look at past lives and heal past lives. Why, Sarah, do some of us have emotions, as Kathleen knows, that others don't? Same thing can happen to many people, and we all experience it differently. And we will bring forth, because our soul remembers, we will bring forth unhealed vibration of past lives, of our ancestors. And that's often why, too, when you're into the whole energy and healing, you may look at healing, at least 7 generations back and 7 generations forward, because the vibration energy goes both ways.
Yes.
And it's about being in the now. So let's heal both ways.
People think ancestral. They don't think past lifetimes, and really we are our ancestral makeup. We are our emotional makeup, we are our past life makeup, and even future life makeup. And I've said very often to people, especially to family who are arguing and holding on to bitterness, and saying that just remember this: whatever you don't resolve in this lifetime, you're taking and imposing onto the next lifetime. Right? Go with a clean slate. Right? Just clean it up here in this lifetime. And that's a lot of what we're here for, isn't it? Is to make sure that we become the beautiful essence of what we're really meant to be. We haven't really scratched the surface as human beings yet of how awesome and how gifted and how amazing we really are, and what this world is really here for, the whole experience of it. I think we're beginning to open up those doors now, and to realize we're so much more than a human blob, that we are so much more when we open up to the wonderment of the universe and everything that it has to show us, of how we are so much more when we don't put limitations on us, when we are willing to be explorers, not just of the earth, but of mind, heart, body, soul, and spirit. And that it's just really quite awesome if we're open up to doing it. Your own journey, Kathleen, kind of from the background of where you came from, listen to the past show, and to where you are now. That it was one of struggle and suffering and frustration and everything else, but literally on your birthday, you had a new birth, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in every way, right?
Absolutely. And I'm just kind of looking at our time, because I know we're going to be wrapping up soon. And what has just come to my mind is that this really was a journey from the outer world to the inner world. And it was really, for me, it was realizing that the answers are within.
Yes.
And going into myself, to my inner world, and then going up. So I would say it's in and up, going to a higher vibration, connecting on a soul level at that higher plane. And I was committed, like my life depended on it. I was committed. I let go. It might not actually even happen, but I was committed to showing up as my best self every day, no matter what.
And when you look at all the suffering that you've been through and where you are now to where you used to be, it was all worth it, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, because I'm able to, to really hold that beacon of light and to give hope to people that actually don't have any hope. And I hold that as living proof for them.
Yeah. I mean, Beatrice, the amount of souls you've probably liberated, You know, it is wonderful when you actually see somebody in their own self-discovery of who they really are from the inside out, that illumination of that realization that they are so much more than. You know, did you choose this path for yourself, or was it chosen for you?
It was chosen for me. I was in the corporate America world, importing and exporting, had a income that many people would like to have, and to choose to walk away or choose a different direction because it's not fulfilling in the soul is a big commitment, because honestly, I was programmed very much toward money and financial, and they are important. And it's also about balance and putting all the balance together in each of the facets of our lives. And when we change, we often go a little bit far one way after we've gone another way, and then we tend to come back into an equilibrium. And to me, a lot of the things that have helped me and others that I work with move forward is a lesson is repeated until learned. So let's learn the lesson, Sarah, and our lives are better. And once you get the lesson, you know you got it. Just like Kathleen knows how much better she feels. And you know, and once you know, that knowing is part of you, and you want to share it with the rest of the world.
You become not only the beacon of light, but you become that energy that others rise up to. Right? That inspiration begets that invitation. You are so inspiring in your whole energy and persona that other people, it's like Harry met Sally. I want what she's having, right? And it's like anybody that's stepped into joy, the joy of life, the joy of meaningful purpose, the joy and the exuberance of all that we can be, you want to be around them. And it's like, how did you get there? You know, and when you go to your backstory, well, I was here. What do you mean you were there? Haven't you always been like this? No, I had to be willing to take the journey to get there. It becomes even more of an inspiration and an invitation to people, because they go, well, there is hope for me. I can leave my own personal hell. I can actually take a journey to this exuberance as well. And when you step into that exuberance of life, that beautiful higher vibration, the meaningful purpose that you've stepped into is so illuminating, not just to others, but to you, because finally you've stepped into a life that you is worth living for you, right? You are worth living for you. And when you're worth living for you, you now are that beautiful rippling vibration for others. So we owe it not only to ourselves, but we owe it into the service of others to be this beautiful light that we are meant to be. Anyone want to add to that?
You said it all, Sarah. I mean, that is so beautifully said. I don't think it could be summarized any better.
Everything is possible. You know, there's that wonderful thing of impossible, I am possible. You know, it is, everything is possible. If you choose to plant the seeds of possibility, water and nurture them without pulling on their roots or without dictating how they should grow or when they should grow, but just keep nurturing them and watering them. When they do grow, those beautiful possibilities, they are going to be in a bloom that it exceeds your expectation, right? But we've got to remember what we seed and what we feed is what will grow. We know the negativity doesn't work. Look what it does. Dis-ease in every aspect of your life. So when you choose to plant and water and seed love, possibilities, and everything that can be possible, it really is exciting to see that growth. And it can be done, folks. It is being done. We are doing it, right? And you can do it too. It just comes down to the mind choosing not to feed the negative or the pain anymore, the willingness to go through it, because there's no shortcut, is there, Kathleen? There's no downloadable app, or I'll get somebody else to do it for me. You've got to do it. But when you get through to that other side and who you are now, every single thing of it is worth it.
Exactly. It's a journey of who do you become?
Yeah.
What it's about.
And who you're going to be for others.
Mhm.
Because we're all here in service of each other. So both of you stepped away from a corporate world, of big money, popularity, importance, and everything else, and decided to follow your soul and your heart and your spirit and be more of service to people from the very core of their being, the very truth of who they are, which is so much more enriching and abundant than anything else could have given you.
I totally agree, Sarah, because every time you see a person transition, and what is even more beautiful than you seeing it yourself is when you hear others say, did you see that person? See how much they've changed?
Yes.
That is even more beautiful. And people will be also wonderful enough to share it with you. And that is, it is wonderful to get the feedback from the clients that the transition for them was more than what they hoped for.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you've become is what you've meant to become, to be of service to others. We've always got to remember we are in service of each other. And when we step into that service in our truth, from our very core of our very being, then we really, that's the beauty of life. We understand what the beauty of life is, right? And it's really quite simple. We love to overcomplex things, but really just be willing to do the work, willing to do the cleaning, willing to do the releasing, willing to allow something you don't understand, willing to explore the dimensions of life without fear, and allow yourself to become the beautiful essence being that you're meant to be. You've both done it. Look at you now, shining bright, being a beacon of hope for others, not just a beacon of hope of just pure energy, but with solutions of how they can get there too. And that's the important thing. Now, having said that, how do people get hold of you? Kathleen, how do they get hold of you, and what are you offering right now?
My email address is Kathleen, and then at accessyou, ACCESSYOU.ca. And my website is that www.access.ca. And what I'm offering right now is an insight session. And that is a free one-to-one session to have clarity on what it is that is actually holding you back. And you can email me if that is of interest to you.
Excellent. When we know what's holding us back, we know how to move forward, right? We know how to release it. That's important. Knowing where you're at right now, not where you want to be, where you're at right now. Beatrice, how do people get hold of you, and what are you offering them?
Well, I have a Medium Beatrix Enter Facebook page, and people just message me through there. And we do one-on-one sessions virtually on Zoom, Messenger, FaceTime, however people prefer. And we look at issues, whatever they are ready to look at, whether it's very much emotional healing, and oftentimes physical healings, and bringing people the information that they're looking for to help them move forward with their lives. And also, some people really like to have information regarding their pets as well, and animal talks. So we go there as well, especially dogs, horses, and even some cats.
I'm glad you do that, because they're beautiful divine beings themselves, and they mean so much to us. They're such wonderful teachers, and really are heart and soul connectors. So I'm glad you're doing that. And people can do booking at Beatrix enter.ca.
Looking at beatrixenter.ca, yes.
And you've also got your website, beatrixenter.ca.
Yes.
Right. And folks, both CA, these are Canadian girls, right? I'm proud of it. Yay. So thank you for taking your own individual journeys. Thank you for not being caught up in, the tornado of society's expectation of what you should be, and being willing to walk away from all of that in your own self-discovery and your own meaningful purpose that now is of service to everyone else. So thank you for doing that, because that courage, that strength, that ability, and now that purpose not only served you, but it serves everyone else that you touch. And that's what it's all about in life. We're here to be that beautiful village that fortifies each other. And we do that by being true to who we are and who we're meant to be, not by society's dictation, but from our heart and soul and spirit's guidance. And when we connect with our core, we can't do anything against that core. It is our connection to the universe and to the beautiful divine essence, and it allows us to go and do what we need to do, and we just do it because we love it, right?
Because it's in line with us.
Exactly. It is the truth in line with us, and we can't help but share it, right, Kathleen? Because that's why you went through the process in the first place.
Exactly. It's about alignment.
Yeah. Please go back and listen to Kathleen Woodington's show with me last time. It's on the show page. We didn't talk about the health side of it. We talk about what she's doing now and whom she's serving and everything. So please go back and listen to that. And don't forget, folks, to share this podcast. I say have, book club. I say have a podcast club. Listen to it, and afterwards, each one of you share your perspective, share your own feelings. Don't go, oh, well, what will people think? I don't care what people think. Be yourself. You have no control of what people are going to think, but don't ever hold yourself back on who you really are. You might shaken them up in the moment, but you've planted some seeds in there, right? And those seeds will grow at the time they're meant to grow, but don't ever limit yourself in the beautiful light that you are. Keep shining bright, okay?
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, ladies. And until next time, folks, remember, there's a new life waiting for you if you're willing to take the journey. And yeah, we're all full of shit, but there is a way of cleaning it all out and living a beautiful, abundant life. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. Please tune in to our selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows, and you will see all the other genres that we have from you. Every week on Tuesday, we bring you new shows from illuminating people. If you know someone that should be interviewed, please contact us at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com. Now stay tuned for your next show.